It's the Body and Soul Show, and of course, I'm Dr. Kemi, and with me is my ever dapper-looking hot McFoy. Dr. Foy.
How you doing, Kemi?
I'm fine, thank you, McFoy.
So today's show is about what?
Today we're going to be talking about mind over matter, talking about phobias, to be really specific. Now, you'll be amazed at the kind of fear that is dominating the lives of people. There are people living in perpetual fear.
Now, Kemi, as we know, I think that fear is a natural thing. What do you think? It's a natural thing.
Fear is actually a natural
thing,
basic survival mechanism. It's there, it's put, you know, for us to be able to determine whether to stay and fight,
whether to move or
fly,
or run.
Run. Yeah. Exactly. So what happens with fear is that fear actually helps you to be able to cope with. It's a coping mechanism. It's a natural survival mechanism.
And then we say that there are hormones released when, so if a lion comes here.
Exactly.
You might, do you know in med school, there was in psychiatry, an exam. If a lion comes here, what will you do? Remember that question? Someone said.
But really, if a lion comes in here, you would find out that you can, at that point, you can climb the highest wall. You would run and you'll be amazed.
Some hormones are pushed.
Yeah, so what happens is that your body actually releases hormones that slow down functions that are not necessary for survival, and then it sharpens functions like your eyesight. It keeps your heart rate pumping so that you have blood getting to all your muscle tissues and everything, and then you have lots of energy. You find out all of a sudden your heart is beating really fast, you're sweating, you're running,
so
you're
fear
so
is
strong.
Natural.
Fear is actually
But today we're talking about those living in constant chronic fear.
People living in chronic fear, and fear is so real. I mean, you'll be amazed. I have a friend that is so scared of cockroaches, and
I forgive her.
I don't like.
Most girls have fear cockroaches.
I don't like cockroaches. Like, I can't stand cockroaches.
Yeah.
The fact that I can't stand it is a different thing altogether. This woman,
and
full-grown woman is afraid of cockroaches. Like, she would practically almost pass out when she sees a cockroach.
And they fear affects our immunity, remember?
Yes.
It affects our immunity, it decreases, so we're prone to different kind of diseases.
Because, of course, when you're living in constant fear, you find out that all of those stress hormones are released. And so because of that, it reduces immunity, making you prone to cardiovascular diseases, like high blood pressure, heart failure, heart conditions,
even
all sorts. Even it actually decreases fertility.
Men, no fear. You understand? No fear, don't do that to yourself. So it does, and then anxiety releases all sorts of things to your body. And insomnia, you cannot sleep because of fear.
People can't sleep well. And then apart from that, fear actually damages, because what happens is when you live in chronic fear, it damages a part of the brain known as the hippocampus. And so what happens is that the memory there is associated with this fear, and that's why sometimes you see people wake up all of a sudden and they are sweating, even from events that have happened 15 years
ago. So post-stress traumatic
for people that have suffered from rape or robbery or there's so much there are a lot of vices out there in the world, and there's a lot of reason to be fearful, but it is up to you to choose to either continue to live in fear or deal with your fear. And that is why we are here for you today. Of course, you know that you can follow us on Twitter at CoolTV Body and Soul, and of course on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Body and Soul. Join the conversation. We'll be right back.
My name's Mr. Mahogany.
Hello, you beautiful people. It's your girl, Osas Igadaro.
My name is Shay Shay.
Hi, my name is Michelle Dede. You are watching the Body and Soul Show on Cool TV. Keep watching.
Now, if you're just tuning in, you've not missed so much.
No, you've not.
We are talking today about mind over matter, specifically phobias. It's the Body and Soul Show, and of course, this is Cool TV. I'm Dr. Kemi.
And I'm Dr. Foy.
Now, we've been talking about fear. We've been talking about the fact that there are people living in chronic, perpetual fear.
Yes.
Now, today, we are going to debunk, or we are going to unravel, we are going to unwrap the top 5 fears
of Nigerians.
Now, if you're Nigerian, I am so sure you can relate to this. So join us on our social media portals on Twitter right now at CoolTV Body and Soul, and let us know what your fear is. Number 5.
Number 5 fear is the fear of...
Number 5 fear is the fear of being fired. People are scared of being fired, and it's called egophobia. Egophobia. It is real. No, I mean let's talk about this company where we work. People are afraid. Do you know there was a time? Let me tell you something. There was a time early this year. I would receive a phone call. I'll be in the hospital. I receive a phone call. I'm like, am I fired? Did they fire me?
It's a fear.
People are so afraid, and I think
it
actually boils down to the fact that
no jobs.
There are no jobs.
Economy.
I mean, statistics have shown that 50% or 55% of the population are unemployed.
Yeah.
With majority of them being youths. So there are no jobs. So I mean,
It's
they say,
tough.
hold on to the one you have. Hold on with everything you've got.
Kemi. Don't worry.
I like the way why do you have to call my name?
You.
McFoy, Kilode.
Fear.
What is it?
What's number 4? I think number 4 is fear of death.
Fear of death.
People
now,
fear.
no. Do you know this particular
the
fear of death?
Yeah.
The fear of death is called
Thanaphobia.
Thanaphobia. Now, the fear of death, particularly when I was young, I remember then I used to be so afraid to go to bed because
I watched this thing called Willy Willy?
I watched Willy
What
Willy.
Willy?
I watched Willy Willy. And it was
Willy
crazy
Willy.
because, you know, I used to be so afraid. And then growing up in Port Harcourt as a young girl, there were lots of obituaries. And they'll say, oh, this man died in his sleep. I heard, oh, that woman just died in her sleep. So I used to be so afraid of going to bed. And then when I'm going to bed, I'll pray, God, please don't let me die in my sleep. And you know what? When I wake up the next morning, I'm like, oh my God, I'm awake. I didn't die in my sleep. So you have a lot of Nigerians being really afraid of death.
Fear of death, yeah.
A lot of people are afraid of death. Especially people, after they have made so much money, they don't want to die.
They want to spend the
let's
money.
chop some
Number
money
3.
and enjoy the world.
Number 3 is fear of priests and juju and spiritual things. And
Oh
it's called
my
what?
God.
It's called
hierophobia. Now people are afraid. Do you know? No, I don't understand. Now, no, I know we are to fear God, and I think that is the only person
we should fear.
And that fear is not even
reverence.
That fear is not be afraid,
Tremble.
be very afraid.
No.
That fear is reverence,
Respect.
like respect. You know, when you say, "Ah, man, I fear this thing,"
Nigerians can
but
fear
people are afraid
of everything.
They say this, they will run. Pastor said I should do this. So I will roll, I would lick salt. People can be so afraid of a lot of things, especially spiritual
And in
things.
that light, number 2 is the fear of hell.
The fear of hell. Do you know, for me, I will tell you that a lot of people are going to church not because they really love God. A lot of people go to church because they don't want to go to hell.
The fire is hot.
I mean, they just think about it. No, when you go under the sun, I'm like, man, I don't know who did I offend. They say the sun is not for young
and the
children.
hellfire is
so
billions.
They think about hell and they're like, man, I can't go to hell. And the fear of hell is called stygophobia. Stygophobia is the fear of hell, and a lot of people are afraid.
And the number 1 fear in Nigeria, which Kemi is also afraid of, is the fear of poverty. Kemi, you're a doctor, you're a model, you're a TV show.
I'm a TV show.
I am a
TV show.
You're a TV show. You're a TV host. You're into fashion.
What else?
You're into fashion. Kemi,
What else?
you do hair.
No, but the truth is, people don't want to be poor. I mean, you want to be able to afford the rich things of life.
Nigeria is
so
just
what?
tough.
I'm a doctor, model. What else did you call me? TV show presenter, whatever it is.
And it's called peniophobia. Peniophobia.
The fear of poverty. A lot of people are afraid of being poor, especially when, because you know how they have old money and new money. No, they always tell you that people living in Ikoyi are old money. But like everybody lives in Lekki. They just say
new money.
I'm begging new money. That's what they said. I didn't say it. I didn't come up with this. But the truth is, you have a lot of people probably have come from poor background, humble background,
and they don't touch it small,
or average background, and then they just have a taste. A little taste. And they're like, man, I'm not going back there anymore.
So, Kemi, on this note, promise that it's gone, the fear of poverty.
I'm not afraid of poverty because I can't be poor.
Bado!
I can never be poor.
You're a fresh fly girl. Please watch top 10 strange phobias that are happening right now
in the world.
You'll be shocked. You'll be afraid.
Okay, let's see it.
Number 10, epistemophobia, the fear of knowledge. You can't be a sufferer of this one for long before it starts to put a serious cap on your personal development. This phobia means no more learning, no school, and no longer being open to new information and facts, which means any of you watching this who suffer from this phobia are probably about to have a really bad time. Even if you're willing to face these fears and try to actually learn some new stuff, the horror you'll experience while doing so will likely make the process much harder. Basically, imagine trying to carefully revise for an exam while sitting in a bath full of spiders. Number 9. Decidophobia, the fear of making decisions. How does someone go about their life if they're afraid of making decisions? Those with this phobia have no problem with contemplating a decision, but actually making a choice terrifies them. Naturally, this makes interacting with the world a bit of a constant struggle. People with this phobia tend to rely on other people for their decision making, and presumably only keep one type of breakfast cereal in the cupboard. Number 8. Cibophobia, the fear of food. In case this hasn't already become clear to you, humans need food to survive. Cibophobes are afraid of food, which leaves them with two options, one of which is death. Thankfully though, most sufferers are only afraid of specific types of food, but if left untreated and untouched for too long, the range of things included can dangerously expand. Number 7. Arachibutyrophobia, the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of the mouth. Right, quite an easy one to avoid this. As silly as it sounds, arachibutyrophobia is the bizarre fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. And someone with this phobia usually has severe symptoms of anxiety, and the fear is often rooted in a more generalised phobia of choking or a fear of sticky textures. Number 6. Counterphobia, the preference by a phobic for fearful situations. Okay, so that's a mouthful. This is when a phobic actively wants to involve themselves with objects or situations that cause them extreme fear and discomfort. Counterphobes usually seek out such activities in an effort to actually fight their phobia, but that isn't always the case. Some with counterphobia seek fearful situations to feel invigorated, or to effectively chase an adrenaline rush. In the same way most of us get a kick out of horror movies, a handful of people might get the same experience simply from a spoonful of peanut butter. Number 5. Acousticophobia, the fear of sound. The fear of sound or noise is one of the more severe phobias that people can suffer. Like most other phobias, acousticophobia is generally generated by the mind as a protective mechanism. Now, typical treatment can take years, which makes it troubling to wonder how sufferers of this phobia manage to go about their lives in the meantime. Closing your eyes is easy enough, but closing your ears takes a little more work. Number 4. Hypnophobia, the fear of sleep. This is another phobia that can considerably impact your quality of life. A few days without food is a walk in the park when compared to hypnophobia. It's difficult to remain in a functional state after just a day of not sleeping. After 11 days of not sleeping, you'll suffer massive hallucinations. And while it's never been observed in humans, sleep deprivation in animals does cause death. Which is weird, considering scientists aren't really even sure what the actual purpose of sleep is. Trying to go to sleep when you're hypnophobic can overwhelm you with fear, and if you're already a bit loopy from sleep deprivation, then that's a recipe for an awful time. Number 3. Ambulophobia, the fear of walking or standing. Predominantly developed due to a link to the fear of losing control, the implications of this phobia are almost hard to comprehend. If you're merely thinking about standing or walking around, and that's scaring you, then how on earth do you go about life? Those who suffer from this phobia usually find it safer to sit or lie down, which links it to the vertigo, the fear of falling whilst walking around. Number 2. Panphobia, the fear of everything. Also known as omniphobia, pantophobia, or panophobia, this is a non-specific fear, an anxiety disorder characterized by an irrational fear of everything, where the sufferer finds themselves in a state of fear, but with no actual target. Naturally, this makes remedies difficult. The phobia has been described as a vague and persistent dread of some unknown evil, making it a bit like being permanently trapped in the mental state caused by Monday mornings. Number 1. Phobophobia. The fear of developing a phobia. Now, if this is already a fear, then how is phobophobia even considered a phobia? Well, it exists, and it's so ludicrously complicated that it should probably be considered as a paradox as opposed to a genuine fear. Phobophobia is a miserable condition that represents a potentially infinite loop of fear. And if phobophobia doesn't get you, what about phobophobia phobia? Or phobophobia phobia phobia phobia? Urgh, chills. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. For more top 10 lists, be sure to...
We have to remove that subscribe. Oh my God. Wait, panphobia. I can't get the fear of everything. How can you
be afraid of everything?
That is, if you're just perpetually living in
phobophobia. Fear of having a phobia.
So you are afraid, God, I don't want to have a phobia.
And I think Nigerians have electophobia, fear of voting. Next year, elections.
Oh, there's no point. No, but why? Okay.
Please vote. Please vote. Yeah, I'm pro-Nigeria.
But I cannot not talk about ophthalmophobia, which is the fear of being stared at.
Are you serious?
There's something like ophthalmophobia.
Kemi is
the fear of
filio. Kemi likes to be stared at.
You're not serious.
Yeah.
And then we talked about sidiophobia, which is the fear of hell. There's actually uranophobia,
fear of what?
The fear of heaven. Who is afraid? Like, I don't get it. There's actually uranophobia, the fear of heaven. So how about agyrophobia, the fear of crossing the road? Okay, now.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
There's no point. Just stay where you are.
Why did the chicken cross the road? I was afraid. But so we've spoken about fear. So how do we now overcome fear? That's the next thing.
Now, the first thing is to acknowledge that you have a fear.
Yes.
Because they always say that you can never help yourself until you actually realize that you need help.
So some people say write it down.
Yes.
Write it down.
Determine, understand, you know, articulate, acknowledge, find out.
Can I have a fear?
What's your fear?
It's a fear that it's my Arsenal. It's maybe Arsenalophobia. I'm afraid that my Arsenal never win the cup. I'm an Arsenal fan. It's just a fear.
But when last?
We won last year, but we won FA
Okay, but before the one you won last year, you hadn't won a cup in 8 years.
I was in secondary school.
Like you had
So I have a fear. So I'm writing it down. So you write it down. Yeah, I'll change club. That's how I have fear.
Acknowledge your fear. That's the most important thing. And then secondly, realize that this fear is just in your mind. You know, realize that your fear is just in your mind.
So the chick with the cockroach, just tell her to chill. It's in her mind.
Exactly. No, yeah, right. So you're looking at the cockroach moving around.
It's in our mind.
And then they always say, face your fears.
Face it.
Once you face your fears, you would eventually be able to stare at it in the face and realize that it wasn't really there after all. They said that somebody came knocking on the door, and then fear came knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And when they opened the door, they found out that it was nothing.
So fear is nothing.
So fear is actually nothing. And then for me, I think, okay, like we have here, they say, face your fears and doubt, a new world will open to you.
Yeah.
So the first, like David, Goliath was coming, and you found David running to Goliath, run towards your fears. And then fear is an idea-crippling, experience-crushing, success-stalling inhibitor inflicted only by yourself. So the truth is, the source of fear is actually you. And fear would actually cripple your ideas. It would crush your experiences. It would leave you damaged and scarred for life.
Yes.
And I don't know, but fear is crazy. Failure is the opportunity. There's actually the fear of failure.
Yes.
In fact, that is what drives most people to read and study in school.
Yes.
But how could we have missed that? I think that's what every student fears.
Fear of failure.
But failure is actually the opportunity to begin again, but only more intelligently, because you have learned your lessons.
The ropes.
You've learned your lessons, and they always say that when you fall on the ground, pick yourself back up and figure out your lessons, figure out the lessons that you've felt.
And this is the last one. Conquer your fears. It is time.
I mean, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? I think that's what we need. We need to get to that point where we ask ourselves, okay, I'm really afraid. I'm running late. Now, like we talked about the fear of being fired.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're running late. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You get fired. Fine, what happens? Then the world continues. Like, nothing, at the end of the day, if you shake up fear, there is nothing really there. Fear has no substance.
So, in that light, I want to tell people about my man called Al Pacino. Al Pacino. There's a movie he did recently, sorry, not recently, I wasn't born then. But this movie skit, I like the movie skit. And I want to watch
the movie skit.
And it's about how to handle fear inch by inch. Watch it.
From the expert himself.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes till the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. Either we heal as a team, or we're gonna crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I mean, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. Yeah. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. Hell yeah. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. Right? That's a team, gentlemen. Hell yeah. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you gonna do?
I am so inspired.
Inch by inch, Kemi.
Inch by inch,
Face
boy.
your fear.
Inch by inch.
Inch by inch. Face the cockroach.
I am so inspired. No, but really, like, I just felt like, yes, yes, I can do this.
You can't face your fear.
I can take over my life and take over my tomorrow.
You can't face it, Kemi.
No, but I was really inspired. I mean, I was really, really inspired. And irrespective, at the end of the day, you win some and you lose some. I think we should not be afraid. Life is a journey. Life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. Every step of the way. Don't allow fear cripple you. Do not allow fear cripple you. It's been wonderful.
It's been a fantastic experience.
It's been an amazing.
Inch by inch.
Inch by inch. We drove home the point.
Inch
that
by
fear
inch.
is nothing.
That bad experience, you push it away. Inch by inch.
By inch. Till we see you next time. It's still the Body and Soul Show. Keep watching.
Inch by inch.
Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.